Hello my friends, I am Mr. 23 and in today's video I'm going to combine two of my favorite genres, which is fantasy and cyberpunk. Let's get started. After a huge search for the right image, I found this one and I selected the buildings using the polygonal lasso tool and I started to select the buildings like that. Then when I finished, I added a mask and now right click on it and convert it to a smart object. So with the polygonal lasso tool I wanted to separate this building from the front. You don't really need to be 100% exact. After I did that, I used the mouse and right click on the image and I choose layer via copy, and now we have this building which is separate from the rest of the buildings. So I had to do that with the entire image to separate the buildings like I did with this one. So after I spent some time with all those buildings, I managed to separate them one from another. So as I said, because this is not a 3D image, all those parts will be cut off. We cannot rotate anything. So by doing that, later on I will be able to add some fog, some atmosphere to create some depth to my image. So otherwise that will be really hard to do if we wouldn't separate the buildings one from another. Then in front of all those buildings I added this rooftop image and another one here, this scaffold, and another one here on the right side. So I added this sky image and then I added this photo with the moon and I set the layer to color dodge. And because I wanted more buildings, I went to Envato again and I have added this 3D building, also this one here. And now because we added some elements that they are not from the same image, one of the most important things is to color grade everything, so all the buildings and all the extra buildings that we have added, they should look really good together.
Sorry, sir. Doing my best.
And a really important step is to add levels. So by adding levels, I have darkened up everything, so now the color grading is more easier. So I started with this tall building and the first thing that I added was color balance. So in my case I added the cyan and the blues. The next thing was to add a bit of Gaussian blur, 1% in my case, because the building is a bit far from our eyes. And the last one was hue and saturation, and I have decreased the saturation and decreased the lightness. And for the rest of the other buildings, I'm just going to copy the same steps to all of them. I copied the same things to all the buildings and we end up with this image at this moment. For the tubes part, I have used this PNG file from CoolZero from DeviantArt website, and I have cut some parts of it and mix them together so I can create my own tubes. So from this image I had to cut some parts. I have selected this part and I combine it with this part of the tube, and I have duplicated the tube many times to create this column of tubes. So after I did all those things with the tubes to create this column, I selected all of them and right click and convert it to a smart object. And now if we drag this one into our image, we can do a lot of stuff. First we can make it a bit bigger and then we can rotate it and place it wherever we need it. I will place the first one something like that here. We can duplicate it by holding Alt and drag this layer and press Ctrl T and make it a bit smaller. So now because my buildings are apart from one another, we can move this tube beneath other buildings, so not in front like this one, so we can drag it. So depending on your image, you can create any shape that you want with the puppet warp. So I just click and to add some points and I can move those points around, something like that. I'm just dragging, and this one also. So after I added my tubes, I puppet warped them and placed them around the city. The next thing that I did was to color grade them and to match them with the rest of the background. And because in the beginning of this video I told you that we need to separate the buildings because we needed to add some atmosphere, some fog, now is the moment to add that fog.
Looks like a fog bank and it's moving straight toward us.
Now the first fog that I'm going to add is this one, so it's just a layer set to normal and I have painted with a cloudy brush, fog brush, and now what I have painted covers the entire image and not the tube and this front rooftop and also the scaffolds. And now I will go on and add more fog behind those buildings and behind the tubes and behind those buildings and behind those tubes also. That's why I cut all those buildings in the beginning of the video, so now we can add the fog behind the buildings and not just one big fog in front of everything. So after we have added all the fog, now it's the moment to add some lights to all those buildings. So a really cool trick is to find a night image with some lights in it, for example like this one, and we are just going to take the rectangle marquee tool and we are going to select something like a portion of that image and we are going to copy it. Ctrl C to copy that part of the image, and let's go back, and now I'm going to paste that inside my image, and now I'm going to press Ctrl T and try to find a good position and move the corners to match my building, for example. And then after I will find the right perspective, I'm going to change the blending mode to color dodge and then press Ctrl and L to add more contrast. And now if we zoom out, you will see that we'll have a lot of lights on that area, and we can repeat the process to find other areas. So yeah, after I spent some time to find all those elements to add to my rooftops, for example this one is the same thing, it's set to color dodge. I added this greenish glow in the back, and it's a layer set to color dodge and I have painted with a green color. So create a new layer, fill it with black and set it to color dodge, and then take the brush tool and in my case the green color, and I have painted in the back and I have added this really cool green color over there. And then I have repeated the process. This time I have added this cool effect on top of my fog. So I created a new layer, I fill it with black, set it to color dodge, and then with a fog brush. And then with a fog brush I started to paint with a bluish color to add more glow to that area. So I started to paint like that in that area with a foggy brush, and now that fog it's glowing more and it looks much better. And then I did the same thing here behind those tubes. If you watch my video so far, it means that you enjoyed my content. A subscribe to this channel will help me to create more quality videos, so hurry up, click that subscribe button now. And the last one in front of everything, I have did the same thing with a bluish color. And then to the entire image I have added those white highlights, but this time I use color dodge instead of linear dodge. So I followed the trails of the tubes and I have manually painted those white lines. And then I created another color dodge layer, fill it black, and this time I wanted to emphasize the colors that we have on the image. So I have painted with red, with blue, all over we had those colors. So create a new layer, fill it with black, set it to color dodge, take the soft round brush, and in my case where I have red, for example here, I'm going to paint with some red color over there. Where I have blue, in this case here, I'm going to paint with that blue color, here with some red color, and so on. And here on this tube, because it was too dark, I have added with the same color dodge more colors, in this case green and some purple here in the back. And now it's the time to add the jellyfish. A while ago I have created a really interesting tutorial on how to add jellyfishes to your composites, and you can watch that tutorial because I explained there step by step on how to do that and even more. And then a really cool trick if you want to add quick highlights to those type of elements like this rooftop, for example. If you want a quick way not to draw it by yourself, double click on the image and then go to inner shadow, and Here, set the blending mode to linear dodge and choose your color. In my case, I want this bluish color, and hit OK. And then right click on the effect and create layer. And to this effect, I'm going to hold Alt and add an inverted mask. So now, if I take the brush tool and the white color, if I start to paint, I will add that inner shadow where I want it, not all over the place. So this is really cool if you don't want to have that shadow all over, because it shouldn't be on all parts of the building. So this is really nice if you want to separate the effects that you create. And because I own a dog and a cat, I wanted to add a cat also, so I have added this cat here. It is present in 2 of my other works. This is the 3rd one, the same cat. I have used it 3 times, and this is the last time, and I really love this cat. And I have also added a dog. This was the dog that I have started with, and I have added a mask. If you don't know how to select objects or animals, check out my video with a lot of selection types. First thing that I did was to color match his colors with the rest of the image. So I used the curves for that. I have a full tutorial on how to match the colors of an element with the background using curves. You should watch it. And then I have added a color balance, increase a bit the blues and decrease the reds. And by using a hue and saturation layer, I have added a bit of blue in the left side. And then with exposure, I have added more lights on the left side of the dog. And I did the highlights with a color dodge first on the sides, and then with a layer set to linear dodge. And now is the time for the camera raw filter. So press Ctrl Shift and I, then right click, convert it to a smart object, and go to filter, and here choose camera raw filter. Those are my settings on the basics, on the detail, on the effects, on calibration, and on the color grading. And then I have added some blur. Go to filter and choose blur gallery, and this time I have used tilt shift blur, and I have rotated a bit this blur. So from this part, from this slider, I have rotated a bit those guides, and I have decreased the blur, something like that. And now I have some blur on top and some blur behind our dog, and hit OK. Welcome to Mr. 23 Review. If you want to have your work featured in my videos, please use the hashtag Mr. 23 Review whenever you post your work on Instagram. So the first artist that I'm going to nominate for my Mr. 23 Review is Vidalik, with this really funny and well executed artwork. The next featured artist in today's video is Cheesy Creates. He did a really cool job with this fantasy design using a lot of really cool colors, and also my favorite, a dog, and the rest of the images are really well placed. So congrats Cheesy Creates, keep on creating, my friend. And the last artist for this week featured artist is Sapphire W Art. He created a really cool design for Nemanja Sekulic contest, and I really love the final result. It's really powerful. Good luck everyone that joined Nemanja's contest. Alright my friends, we reached the end of today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and as always your feedback is highly appreciated, so please let me know in the comments your opinion about today's video. See you next time.